Welcome back to Authentic Confession Narratives. Here, we present another enthralling narrative of passion and unforeseen connections for those who appreciate such intriguing tales. Remember to subscribe to our channel. I am Charlotte A., a 42-year-old stepmother, who never thought I would find myself in a situation like this. My husband Liam is a successful businessman, always glued to his phone or buried in work. While I appreciate his dedication, often leaves me feeling neglected and alone. As the days turned into weeks, I found myself longing for companionship and intimacy, craving the affection that had slowly faded from our relationship. I often thought about how I could bring back the spark in my life. The nights felt especially lonely when I'd hear John's footsteps echoing through the house as he retreated to his study, leaving me in the silence of our once vibrant home. I missed the thrill of romance, the warmth of a tender embrace, and the excitement of being desired. Make sure to subscribe to my channel so I can continue bringing you more fascinating true stories like this one. And don't forget to watch this video till the end, because this story is going to be incredibly interesting. My thoughts wandered to my stepson William, a handsome 24-year-old who had recently moved back home after finishing college. William had always been respectful and polite, but there was an undeniable chemistry between us. He had grown into a striking young man, and I found myself stealing glances at him, my heart racing whenever our eyes met. I knew it was wrong, but the more I pushed the feelings away, the stronger they became. One afternoon, after a long day of waiting for Liam to return home, I decided to change into a silk robe. When I caught my reflection in the mirror, I sighed. Wishing for the days when I caught my reflection in the mirror, I sighed, wishing for the days when I felt desired and beautiful. I went to the bedroom to imagine what could be. Suddenly, I heard the creak of the door opening. It was William returning home. Returned home suddenly. "Greetings, Charlotte," he remarked nonchalantly. His radiant smile illuminated his face, causing my heart to rush as I hastily donned my robe, although it was too late. William's eyes expanded marginally when he observed my presence. "I apologize," he muttered, his gaze fixed on me for an extended period. I reassured, attempting to maintain composure. I was merely shifting. I sensed a color ascending my cheeks. We remained in an uncomfortable quiet, the atmosphere laden with unarticulated anxiety. I sensed a shift in our relationship, a palpable electrical current. William transferred his weight from one foot to the other, his gaze returning to me as if he were contemplating an internal dilemma. "I should definitely leave," he finally stated, stepping back toward the door. "Pause," I vocalized my call. Spoken softly, "You need not depart. We may converse." He faltered in his sight. The yearning within me was tangible, compelling me to seize the opportunity. "William, I have been experiencing a sense of loneliness recently. It is challenging to be present in the absence of JN. We have not established a connection as we potentially could." "I comprehend," he responded in a subdued tone. His increased busyness has been peculiar. Throughout the duration, I inhaled deeply, feeling audacious. What if we were to spend some time together, just the two of us? To my astonishment, a smile emerged on his face. As if compelled by an unseen force, I approached him, the distance between us diminishing until we were mere inches apart. I sensed the warmth emanating from his body. "The chemistry between us is irrefutable, William. I wish to be candid. I have contemplated you more than is appropriate. Should I admit to gazing into his eyes?" He acknowledged this as well, approaching closer. Apprehensive exhilaration is apparent in his voice. At that instant, all my apprehensions dissipated. I leaned in and pressed my lips against his. The kiss began hesitantly, but soon intensified, kindling a passion within me that I had not experienced in years. His hands navigated to my waist, drawing me nearer as we fused together. I ended the kiss, breathing heavily and feeling energized. I whispered that this is profoundly incorrect. My heart raced. Perhaps he responded, his voice gravelly. Driven by passion, I instinctively drew him into another kiss, my fingers entwined in his hair, before I could contemplate the repercussions. The kiss rapidly intensified, his hands traversing my back as I leaned toward him. I sensed the warmth emanating from his body, and each contact elicited goosebumps up my spine. As we separated, I gazed into his eyes, perceiving the identical blend of exhilaration and trepidation mirrored in them. "Are we genuinely proceeding with this?" I murmured, experiencing dyspnea. "Indeed," he asserted resolutely. "I desire this, Charlotte. I have desired you for an extended period," and those words instilled in me a sense of courage. I retreated slightly and grasped his hand, guiding him to the bed. The moment was unreal, yet I was prepared to accept it as we perched on the edge of the bed. I leaned in closer, our lips meeting again, more urgently this time. William's hands roamed my body, exploring every curve as I melted into his touch. I could feel the heat building between us, igniting a fire I hadn't felt in years. My fingers traced along his jawline, and I could see the desire burning in his eyes. "Let's not hold back," I said breathlessly, feeling exhilarated by my own boldness as I nodded. He leaned in again, kissing me deeply. I could feel him pressing against me, his body hot and eager. My hands explored his chest, feeling the solid muscles beneath his shirt. I knew I wanted more, and the thought thrilled me. Slowly, I pushed him back onto the bed, straddling him as I kissed him with urgency. He looked up at me, his eyes wide with surprise and excitement. "I never expected this," he breathed, his hands gripping my hips. "Neither did I replied, my voice low and sultry. "But it feels too good to stop now," as we continued kissing. I could feel him responding to my every touch, our bodies moving in sync. I started to slide my hands under his shirt, exploring his toned abdomen, feeling the warmth of his skin. He let out a soft groan, and the sound sent shivers down my spine. "God, Charlotte, you're incredible," he murmured, his hands traversing to my back, drawing me nearer as I pressed against him. I appreciated his gaze, the longing in his eyes intensifying my want to experience your assurance. Whispered, my voice laden with need, "Then let us not squander any further time." He grasped the hem of my robe, pulling it apart as I gasped at the sensation of exposure. "You're beautiful," he murmured, leaning in to kiss my collarbone, igniting a fire within me. His hands roamed over my body, stimulating every nerve ending as I felt the heat rising. He kissed down my neck, sending waves of pleasure coursing through me, prompting a soft moan as I arched my back against him. With newfound confidence, I urged for more of his touch. William sat up, gripping my waist and turning us over, pinning me against the bed. His eyes sparkled with mischief and desire as he leaned in for another kiss, capturing my lips with fervor. I felt his weight pressing against me, and every moment felt electric. I grasped his member, astonished by its size, realizing I could no longer hold back my desire as he began to moan, intensifying my craving. We became engrossed in one another, the external world dissipating as we delved into our desires. The room resonated with soft murmurs and the rhythm of our bodies in unison. Each caress and kiss was increasingly intoxicating. As we intertwined, I experienced a liberation I had not felt in years, yearning to explore every facet of him and immerse myself in the moment. Our bodies moved in perfect synchrony, igniting a fervor that enveloped us both. Eventually, as the ardor subsided, we settled into a comfortable embrace, regaining our breath. Gazing into William's eyes, I felt a joy and excitement I had been longing for. However, just as I began to relax, the doorbell rang again, disrupting my euphoric state and prompting me to question what it was that stirred within my heart. As I realized the seriousness of our situation, "I'm sure your spouse, William," expressed his alarm through his eyes. "We didn't expect John to return home for several hours." "I can scarcely comprehend this," I said, as we hurried to restore our appearance and render ourselves presentable. As we achieved a semblance of presentability, I discerned John's voice emanating from the corridor. "Charlotte, are you present at home?" he shouted. Expressing cheerfulness, "I am currently in the bedroom," I shouted, my heart racing as I observed William, who appeared equally agitated. "Remain silent," I urged in a hushed tone. William swiftly nodded and entered the closet just as John entered the room. John entered, smiling upon seeing me. "I did not anticipate your presence at home." "What was the nature of your day, Liam?" A smile appeared on his face upon seeing me. "I did not anticipate your presence at home." "What was the nature of your day?" he inquired, advancing nearer. "Just relaxing," I responded, constraining a smile and attempting to appear as composed as possible. "How was your experience?" I inquired, attempting to appear nonchalant. He sounded as busy as ever, but I decided to take a break and spend some time with you. I acquiesced. Experienced a blend of shame and exhilaration. I could still sense William's presence in the atmosphere, his warmth, and the pleasure of our shared experiences. I had to suppress those thoughts while attempting to interact with Liam, who appeared unaware of the tension lingering between us as the evening unfolded. Liam and I positioned ourselves on the couch, sharing casual conversation, but my mind kept wandering back to William and the electric connection we had just shared. My heart raced every time I thought about it, igniting a fire within me that I couldn't ignore. A few days later, while John was out for another late-night meeting, I found myself alone at home again, my thoughts consumed by the memory of our last encounter, missing the thrill of being wanted and feeling alive. I decided to take a long, relaxing bath to ease the tension, hoping it would help calm my racing thoughts. I lit a few candles and filled the tub with warm water, allowing the steam to envelop me as I lay there soaking. My mind drifted back to William, his hands exploring my body. The passion in his kissing was intoxicating. I felt a rush of feeling alive. I decided to take a long, relaxing bath to ease the tension, hoping it would help calm my racing thoughts. I lit a few candles, filled the tub with warm water, and let the steam envelop me as I lay there, soaking. My mind drifted back to William, his hands exploring my body. The passion in his was intoxicating. I felt a rush of heat at the memory and knew I needed to see him again. Just then, a soft knock on the door sent my heart tumbling. I quickly wrapped a towel around myself before opening the door, only to find William standing there with a mischievous grin on his face. William's eyes glimmered. "I trust I am not causing any disruption." "Not at all," I replied, my heart pounding at his sudden appearance. He stepped inside the restroom. I experienced a surge of exhilaration at his proximity once more. "I was merely bathing," I stated modestly. I tried to hide my nervousness, but it seemed inviting. He inquired, his stare fixed on me as I rested against the doorframe. "May I join you?" I hesitated for just a moment, my heart racing at the thought of being so close to him again, but the thrill was too strong to resist. Sure, why not in an instant? William stepped into the bathroom, closing the door behind him. The atmosphere felt charged with anticipation as I watched him slowly undress. My breath hitched as he revealed his toned body. Every part of me ached to touch him, to explore the heat that radiated from him as he slipped into the tub beside me. The warm water surrounded us, creating a bubble of intimacy. We exchanged nervous glances before our lips collided in a heated kiss. The water splashed around us as I melted into him, his hands finding my breath hitched as he revealed his toned body. Every part of me ached to touch him, to explore the heat that radiated from him as he slipped into the tub beside me. The warm water surrounded us, creating a bubble of intimacy. We exchanged nervous glances before our lips collided in a heated kiss. The water splashed around us as I melted into him, his hands finding my waist and pulling me closer as I tangled my fingers in his hair. The kisses quickly deepened, filled with hunger and desire as we lost ourselves in the moment. I could feel the warmth of his body against mine, igniting a fire that spread through me. "You're even more beautiful," William whispered against my lips, his breath warm against my skin. I smiled, feeling flattered. "And you're more irresistible every time I see you with newfound confidence." I pushed him back against the tub, straddling him as I pressed my body against his. The water swirled around us, but I lost myself in the sensation of his skin against mine, my fingers tracing down his chest, relishing the feel of his muscles beneath my touch. Charlotte breathed, his voice filled with longing. "You have no idea how much I've longed for this," I replied, my voice sultry. I leaned in for another passionate kiss, our bodies moving together as the surrounding water blurred. I could feel his hands roaming my body, tracing every curve as I lost myself in his touch. The thrill of being so close to him sent shivers down my spine. Igniting every nerve ending, I leaned back slightly, allowing him to kiss down my neck, savoring the sensation of his lips against my skin. William groaned, his hands gripping my face, his thumbs brushing over my cheeks as he pulled me in for another searing kiss. I could feel the heat building between us, a powerful force that drew us closer together, urging us to explore more. The water around us became a blur as we tangled together, lost. In the heat of the moment, my hands explored his body, tracing over his shoulders and down his arms as he deepened our kiss. Each movement ignited the passion between us, and suddenly I felt a rush of boldness. I pulled away slightly, looking into his eyes. "Let's take this further," I whispered, my heart pounding at the thought. "Are you sure?" he asked, his voice thick with desire. "With desire, I've never been more sure of anything in my life," I replied, my heart pounding with anticipation. With that, we moved together, the warm water surrounding us as we embraced the heat of our desires. We pressed against each other, our bodies entwined in the moment as the passion escalated. Our breaths mingled as we lost ourselves in the pleasure of being together. Time seemed to melt away as we surrendered to our desires, exploring every inch of each other and feeling the warmth of our connection grow eventually. As the water cooled around us, we pulled apart, slightly gazing into each other's eyes. I felt exhilarated, alive in a way I hadn't experienced in years, but just as we began to relax, the sound of the front door echoed through the house. We exchanged worried glances at Liam's home, and I exclaimed, "Panic!" William urgently said, "We have to get out of here." Scrambling out of the tub, we heard Edley dry off and throw on our clothes, the tension palpable as we tried to make ourselves presentable. Just as I finished adjusting my hair, I heard John's voice. "Call out again, Charlotte. I'm back," he shouted. "We need to hide," William said urgently. Glancing toward the door, I nodded, and we both ducked into the closet, our hearts racing as we heard John enter the bathroom. The two of us stood close together in the darkness, our breaths mingling, and as we waited for the tension to dissipate, John began to wash his hands at the sink, oblivious to the chaos that had just unfolded in his. "How was your day, Charlotte?" he asked. I replied casually, my heart pounding in my chest as I exchanged a nervous glance with William. After a few tense moments, John completed his task and exited the bathroom, allowing us to exhale with relief. "Wow, that was close," William whispered, his eyes wide with excitement. I replied, shaking my head in disbelief. He leaned in and kissed me softly, reminding me of the thrill we had just shared. "I can't believe we just..." Before I could finish, he did. "We can't stop now," he said, his voice low with urgency. "This is just the beginning." I felt my heart racing again, caught between the thrill of our secret and the reality of my life with Liam. But deep down, I knew that whatever was happening between William and me was something I couldn't resist. I was ready to embrace this new chapter, wherever it might lead us. The exhilaration of the forbidden persisted, and I was prepared to delve further into this unforeseen romance, regardless of the consequences.